This is WFYI News Now. It's January 21st, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, out-of-state investors target single-family rental homes in central Indiana. A state house bill that would require schools to be prepared if someone's heart stops. And Governor Mike Braun unveils an education budget proposal that could significantly shape the future for schools and families across Indiana.
I'm going to look for others that are going to have impact. And again, how do you do it? You run the government more efficiently. That's how you pay for it.
Those stories coming up. But first, Indianapolis's professional women's basketball team, the Indiana Fever, announced plans to build a $78 million practice facility in the city's downtown. As Ben Thorpe reports, the facility is expected to be built on the site of the former Marion County Jail.
The Indiana Fever currently has a dedicated practice facility within the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But officials with Pacers Sports and Entertainment, or PS&E, say they want to build a complex centered around the needs of female athletes. Mel Raines is the CEO of PS&E.
The vision is really nothing short of creating the preeminent female performance center in the world.
Officials say PS&E will manage the design and construction of the facility, and the land will remain owned by the Capital Improvement Board of Marion County. Online, some members of the community expressed frustration that a portion of the city's downtown would be used on yet another sports complex. The practice facility is expected to be open ahead of the 2027 season. I'm Ben Thorpe.
Single-family rental homes in central Indiana counties have been targeted by out-of-state investors. WFYI's Zach Castle has more on the findings from a new report by the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana.
More than 20,000 rental homes are owned by out-of-state investors in central Indiana. That's about 1 in 4 homes. The study of rental properties includes Marion, Hamilton, Hancock, Hendricks, and Johnson counties. In Marion County, almost 22% of homes are owned by out-of-state investors, with more than 14% owned by mega investors. Amy Nelson is the CEO of the Fair Housing Center.
These are companies that are targeting affordability. We see how the Far East Side, Lawrence and Marion County, South Side, really being bought up quite a bit.
When out-of-state investors speculate on rental homes, tenants may have difficulty getting in touch with ownership and fixing maintenance issues. Rental ownership by out-of-state investors results in an estimated $438 million a year leaving Indiana from the 5 counties, according to the Fair Housing Center. I'm Zach Castle.
Nearly 90% of kids who go into cardiac arrest outside of a hospital die. Less than half of Indiana schools are prepared to respond if that happens. Side Effects Public Media's Elizabeth Gabriel reports on an Indiana bill that would require schools to be prepared if someone's heart stops.
Senate Bill 350 would require county health departments to work with schools to establish an emergency action plan if someone goes into sudden cardiac arrest. Indiana Republican Senator Linda Rogers wrote the bill. She says it requires schools to follow the recommendations of the American Heart Association, which suggests having automated external defibrillators, or AEDs.
A couple young men up in my area passed away, one because the AED was in the coach's office, and another, there was an AED just down the hall, and no one knew it was there. Having the plan, having the AEDs is going to save lives.
The proposed legislation would also require the Department of Education to produce a survey that describes the preparedness levels of each school. Elizabeth Gabriel, Side Effects Public Media.
And for our final story today, Governor Mike Braun unveiled his education budget proposal that could significantly shape the future of schools and families across Indiana. As WFYI's Rachel Fredette reports, the priorities come amid growing concerns over changes to property taxes.
Braun's plan would increase the support for K-12 schools by 2% in each year of the budget. It's a relatively modest increase when paired with Braun's hope of property tax relief for homeowners. He also wants private school vouchers to be available to every family. The cost has not yet been shared. Braun says his plan to create state tax-free holidays will make it a little easier on families.
I'm going to look for others that are going to have impact. And again, how do you do it? You run the government more efficiently. That's how you pay for it.
Braun can propose expectations for spending, but lawmakers will write and debate the budget until it's finalized in April. I'm Rachel Fredette.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.